Before you go anywhere, let me ask you something very quiet but very serious. When was the last time you cried and didn't tell anyone? Not the kind of tears that fall in front of people, the kind that fall when the room is dark, when the phone is silent, when even your own heart feels tired of being strong. Some of you didn't click this by accident. You came here carrying something you haven't put down in a long time, a worry you keep pushing into tomorrow, a pain you keep hiding behind a smile, a question you keep asking Allah in the middle of the night. And I want you to hear this slowly. If your heart is tired today, it is not because Allah is far from you. It is because Allah is calling you closer. There is a moment in every believer's life when tears stop being a sign of weakness and they become a sign of trust. A moment when you stop fighting life alone and you begin to let Allah carry what you cannot. Stay with me for a few minutes. Not for a lecture, not for information, but for your own heart. Because by the end of this, you may realize something that changes the way you carry everything you're holding right now. When you realize you cannot carry life by yourself, there is a moment that changes you forever. It does not come with applause. It does not come with success. It does not come with people celebrating you. It comes when you are tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. Not the kind of tired that a break can heal. But the kind of tired that lives deep in the heart. Tired of explaining yourself to people who do not listen. Tired of proving your worth to those who do not see it. Tired of fixing problems that seem to return the moment you turn your back. Tired of being strong for everyone else while quietly falling apart inside. You wake up one day and you realize something has shifted. Your body is moving, your life is continuing, but your heart feels heavy, slow and worn. And in that moment, something inside you finally whispers, Ya Allah, I can't do this alone anymore. Not in anger, not in complaint, but in truth. Do you know what that moment really is? That moment is not failure. That moment is honesty. It is the first time you stop pretending you are in control. Because most of us, my dear brothers and sisters, live our lives believing we are carrying everything. We carry our families. We carry our responsibilities. We carry our dreams. We carry our pain. We carry our fears about the future. We carry our regrets about the past. We tell ourselves, I have to be strong. We tell ourselves, I can't fall apart. We tell ourselves, if I don't hold this together, everything will collapse. And slowly, without realizing it, we place the weight of our entire life on our own shoulders. That is a heavy burden for any heart. So Allah in His mercy allows you to feel tired. He allows you to feel overwhelmed. He allows you to reach a point where you finally admit, I cannot carry this by myself. Not because He wants to break you, but because He wants to carry you. You stop leaning on people who can leave. You stop trusting plans that can collapse. You stop relying on strength that can run out. And you begin to lean on the one who never gets tired of carrying you. My dear brother, my dear sister, people mean well, but they have limits. They can support you today and be absent tomorrow. They can promise and forget. They can love you and still misunderstand you. Plans can look perfect on paper and fall apart in one moment. Jobs can disappear. Health can change. Situations can turn without warning. But Allah does not change. He does not forget you when you are quiet. He does not leave you when you are weak. He does not turn away when you are confused. He is the same in your strength and in your weakness. He is the same in your success and in your struggle. And when you finally stop pretending you can handle everything alone, you make space in your heart for Allah to enter fully. Allah does not ask you to be strong. Allah asks you to come close. He does not want your perfection. He wants your heart. Some of you think you have to fix yourself before turning to Allah. You think you have to become better, calmer, more patient, more faithful, and then you can come to Him. But Allah is not waiting for a polished version of you. He is waiting for the real one. the one who is tired, the one who is confused, the one who is scared, the one who does not know what to do next. That is the heart Allah loves to receive, because that heart is humble, that heart is open, that heart is ready to trust, and trust begins when control ends. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how small a child feels when they are overwhelmed. When a child is scared, they do not try to solve the problem. They run to their parent. They reach out their hands. They cry. Not because they have a plan, but because they trust. Allah wants you to come to Him like that. Not with perfect words, not with perfect understanding, but with an honest heart. When your tears fall with surrender instead of anger, they become something different. They are no longer just pain. They become connection. They become a silent conversation between you and your Lord. And in that conversation, something inside you begins to heal. You may not see your problems disappear immediately. Your situation may not change overnight. Your struggle may still be there when you wake up tomorrow. But your heart begins to feel lighter, because now you are no longer carrying life alone. You start to realize that every breath you take is already being given to you. Every step you make is already being allowed. Every moment you survive is already being supported by Allah's mercy. You were never truly alone. You were just trying to carry what was never meant to be carried by a human heart. And when that realization settles inside you, something beautiful happens. You stop waking up with panic. You stop going to sleep with fear. You stop replaying every mistake, every worry, every what if in your mind. Not because you stop caring, but because you start trusting. You begin to say, Ya Allah, I don't know how this will work out, but I know you do. You begin to say, Ya Allah, I don't know where this path leads, but I know you are with me on it. You begin to say, Ya Allah, I don't know what I am becoming, but I trust that you are shaping me. And that trust becomes your first layer of strength, not the loud kind of strength, not the kind that shows off, but the quiet kind. The kind that keeps you standing when life shakes you. The kind that keeps you gentle when the world makes you hard. The kind that keeps you faithful when the road feels long. This is where your armor begins. Not made of pride, not made of control, but made of tawakkul. A heart that says, I am not alone in this. A soul that says, Allah is carrying what I cannot. A believer who walks forward not because they feel strong, but because they trust the one who is. And my dear brothers and sisters, once you reach this place, life does not become perfect, but it becomes bearable, it becomes meaningful, it becomes lighter. Because now you are no longer carrying life by yourself. You are walking with Allah, and there is no safer place for a heart to be. There is another moment that comes after the moment of honesty. After you whisper, Ya Allah, I can't do this alone anymore. It is the moment you begin to feel something shift inside you, not outside, not in your situation, not in your problems, but inside your heart. Because when you finally let go of carrying everything, Allah begins to show you what it feels like to be carried. At first, it is very gentle. It does not come like a miracle falling from the sky. It does not come like your problem suddenly disappearing. It comes like a quiet calm. You wake up one morning and notice that your chest does not feel as tight as it did before. You face a situation that used to make you panic, and you realize you can breathe through it now. You think about something that once kept you awake at night, and it no longer shakes you the same way. This is not because the problem became smaller. It is because Allah made your heart stronger. My dear brothers and sisters, this is one of the greatest signs of tawakkul. When Allah does not immediately change what you are facing, but He changes how you face it. Some of you are asking Allah, Ya Allah, remove this burden from my life. And Allah is answering, my servant, I am teaching your heart how to carry it with me. Because there are things in life that cannot be avoided. Loss, disappointment, waiting, uncertainty. But none of these things were meant to be carried alone. And when you finally invite Allah into the center of your struggle, you begin to notice something beautiful. You stop talking to people about everything, and you start talking to Allah about everything. You still share, you still seek advice, You still lean on others, but your heart no longer depends on them for peace. Your heart depends on Allah. So when people misunderstand you, it hurts, but it does not break you. When plans fall apart, it disappoints you, but it does not destroy you. When things take longer than you hoped, it tests you, but it does not empty you. Because now, your stability is not coming from what is happening around you. It is coming from who is with you. My dear brother, my dear sister, think about how many times in your life something went wrong and you thought this is the end of your happiness, the end of your peace, the end of your future, and yet you are still here, breathing, walking, living. That is not an accident. That is Allah carrying you through moments you thought you would not survive. But here is the difference now. Before, Allah was carrying you while you were fighting Him. You were holding on to fear. You were holding on to control. You were holding on to what if. Now you are letting Him carry you willingly. And that changes everything. Because when you stop resisting, the journey becomes softer, not easier, but softer. The pain still exists, but it does not harden your heart. The waiting still exists, but it does not make you bitter. The struggle still exists, but it does not steal your faith. You begin to understand something very deep, that Allah is not just the one who gives you things. He is the one who stays with you through things. Some of you only turn to Allah when you want something, a relationship, a solution, an answer. But Tawakkul teaches you to turn to Allah even when you do not know what to ask for. You simply say, Ya Allah, be with me in this. And my dear brothers and sisters, there is a difference between having a solution and having Allah. A solution can fix a moment, but Allah can carry a lifetime. So you begin to build a new habit. When something worries you, instead of running to your phone, you turn to your prayer mat. When something hurts you, instead of replaying it in your mind, you whisper it to Allah. When something confuses you, instead of overthinking, you ask Allah for clarity. Slowly your heart learns a new place to rest. And that place is not in certainty. It is not in control. It is not in outcomes. It is in Allah. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is where you begin to understand why Allah says that hearts find peace in His remembrance. Not because problems disappear when you remember Allah, but because your heart remembers that it is not alone. You start to feel accompanied, even in a crowded room, even in a quiet house, even in a long night. You feel like someone is with you, watching over you, aware of you. And that feeling changes how you walk through life. You become gentler with yourself. You stop punishing yourself for every mistake. You stop being harsh with your own heart, because you realize Allah is not dealing with you harshly. He is guiding you. So when you fall, you get back up without hating yourself. When you fail, you try again without losing hope. When you feel weak, you turn to Allah instead of away from Him. And this is how your armor becomes thicker, not made of toughness, but made of trust. A trust that says, even if I don't understand this chapter of my life, I believe the one writing it is merciful. A trust that says, even if this road is long, I am walking it with Allah. A trust that says, even if I feel small, my Lord is great. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not something you achieve in one night. This is something you grow into. Some days you will trust Allah deeply. Other days you will feel scared again. And that is okay. Tawakkul is not never feeling fear. Tawakkul is choosing Allah even when you feel it. So every time your heart gets heavy again, come back to that first honest whisper. Ya Allah, I can't do this alone anymore. And every time you say it, Allah meets you there. Not with disappointment, not with distance, but with mercy. And slowly, gently, patiently, He carries you forward until one day you realize that the life you once felt was too heavy to hold has become a path you can walk. Not because you became stronger, but because you stopped walking it alone. And my dear brothers and sisters, that is one of the greatest gifts Allah can ever give a heart. Why Allah lets you reach the end of your strength. There are moments in life when you feel like you have reached the edge of yourself, the edge of your patience, the edge of your energy, the edge of your hope. You wake up and your heart already feels tired. You go through the day carrying a weight you cannot explain. You go to sleep wondering how you will find the strength to do it all again tomorrow. And in those moments, a quiet question often rises inside you. Ya Allah, why did you let me get this far? Why did you let me feel this weak? Why did you let me feel this small? Why did you let me reach a place where I no longer recognize my own strength? My dear brother, my dear sister, this question does not make you a bad believer. It makes you a human one, because Allah created the human heart with limits. Limits in patience, limits in endurance, limits in understanding, and Allah knows those limits better than you do. Sometimes He allows you to reach them on purpose, not to humiliate you, not to break you, not to show you that you are powerless, but to show you that He is powerful. As long as you believe you can carry everything alone, you will only turn to Allah in moments of emergency. You will treat Him like a last option instead of a constant presence. So Allah, in His wisdom, allows a season in your life where your own strength is no longer enough. A season where your plans fail one by one. A season where your support system feels weak. A season where your confidence begins to shake. And in that season, something very important happens. Your heart finally looks upward instead of outward. You stop scanning people for answers. You stop searching the world for security. You stop chasing certainty in things that were never meant to give it. And you begin to look to Allah with a different kind of gaze. Not just as the one who gives, but as the one who holds. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how a person learns to swim. As long as they feel the ground under their feet, they do not truly trust the water. They keep one foot planted. They keep one hand reaching for the edge. But when the ground disappears, when they realize they cannot stand anymore, they either panic or they learn to float. Allah sometimes removes the ground beneath your feet, not to drown you, but to teach you how to trust the one who holds the ocean. You feel like you are falling, but Allah is teaching you how to be carried. Look at the life of Musa, peace be upon him. He stood with a sea in front of him and an army behind him. No escape, no strategy, no strength left. The people around him said, "We are finished." But Musa did not say, "We will fight." He did not say, "We will run." He did not say, "We will figure this out." He said something simple, "My Lord is with me, He will guide me." This is what it looks like when human strength ends and divine help begins. Some of you are standing at your own sea right now, a future you cannot see, a relationship you cannot fix, a pain you cannot heal, a decision you cannot make. You have tried everything you know how to try. You have thought every thought you know how to think. You have planned every plan you know how to plan. And still you feel stuck. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is often the place where Allah wants you. Not because He enjoys your struggle, but because this is the place where your heart is most open, most sincere, most humble, most ready to listen. Because when you are strong, you tend to speak. When you are weak, you tend to hear. And Allah speaks to hearts that are listening. Some of the most powerful guidance in your life will not come when you are confident. It will come when you are unsure. Some of the clearest direction in your life will not come when you feel in control. It will come when you feel lost. Because in that space you stop trusting your own voice and you start paying attention to Allah's. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a kind of strength that comes from winning, and there is a deeper kind of strength that comes from surrendering. Winning teaches you what you can do. Surrender teaches you what Allah can do. And the second one changes your life. You begin to understand that Allah is not just watching your struggle. He is shaping you through it. Every delay is teaching you patience. Every loss is teaching you detachment. Every unanswered question is teaching you trust. You may not like these lessons. You may not ask for them. But one day, you will be grateful for what they built inside you. Because there will come a time when life tests you again and you will realize something has changed, you do not panic the same way. You do not collapse the same way. You do not lose yourself the same way. Not because life became kinder, but because your heart became anchored. My dear brother, my dear sister, Allah does not always remove the storm. Sometimes He teaches the heart how to stand in it. And when you look back at the moments you thought would destroy you, you will realize they were the moments that introduced you to a deeper relationship with your Lord. A relationship not based on what He gives you, but on who He is to you. The one who guides when you are confused. The one who holds when you are tired. The one who stays when everything else feels uncertain. So if you feel like you have reached the end of your strength today, do not see it as the end of your journey. See it as the beginning of your reliance. Because when your strength runs out, Allah's mercy does not. And when your plans fall apart, Allah's wisdom is still working. And when you feel like you have nothing left to hold on to, remember this: you still have Allah, and that is more than enough to carry you through anything that lies ahead. There is another layer to this moment when you reach the end of your strength. It is not just about feeling weak. It is about realizing that life itself does not come with guarantees. You begin to notice something very humbling. No matter how carefully you plan, no matter how hard you work, no matter how wisely you choose, there are still things you cannot protect. You cannot protect yourself from loss. You cannot protect yourself from change. You cannot protect yourself from disappointment. And for a long time, this realization can feel frightening because the human heart loves certainty. It loves knowing what tomorrow will look like. It loves having a clear picture of how things will turn out. But Allah does not always give certainty. He gives something deeper. He gives companionship. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is a difference between walking a road where you know the destination and walking a road where you trust the one who is walking with you. Allah often removes the first so you can learn the second. Some of you are not just tired because life is hard. You are tired because you are trying to secure a future Allah never promised you. You are trying to control outcomes that were never placed in your hands. So Allah, in His mercy, gently loosens your grip. He lets a plan fall apart. He lets a door close. He lets a timeline stretch, not to frustrate you, but to teach your heart a new way to breathe, to teach you how to live without holding life so tightly. Because a heart that holds too tightly cannot receive. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how you hold water in your hands. If you clench your fist, the water slips through your fingers. If you open your hand, the water rests in your palm. Life is the same. The tighter you try to control it, the more it escapes your peace. The more you open your heart to Allah's will, the more calm you begin to feel. This is one of the hidden reasons Allah allows you to reach the end of your strength. So you stop clenching. So you stop gripping. So you stop carrying the future like a burden. And you begin to carry it like a trust. A trust placed in the hands of Allah. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is a beautiful kind of freedom that comes when you realize you are not responsible for how everything turns out. You are responsible for how you show up. You are responsible for your intention. You are responsible for your effort. You are responsible for your character. But the results, those belong to Allah. When this understanding settles in your heart, something softens inside you. You still care. You still try. You still make dua. But you stop punishing yourself when things do not work. You stop saying, I failed. And you begin to say, Allah chose something different. And sometimes what Allah chooses is not easier, but it is always wiser. My dear brothers and sisters, this is also the moment where you begin to see how Allah uses weakness as a doorway. Before, you may have relied on your confidence, your knowledge, your skills, your connections, and those are blessings. But they can also become walls between your heart and Allah. So Allah allows a season where none of those things seem enough, where you realize that even your best efforts cannot guarantee peace. And in that realization, you turn to Allah not as an option, but as a necessity. That is when your relationship with Him deepens. Your prayers change. They become less about lists and more about presence. You stop only asking for things. You start asking for Allah. You say, Ya Allah, be with me in this. Ya Allah, don't leave my heart alone in this. Ya Allah, teach me what I cannot see. And those are some of the most powerful du'as a believer can make. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is also a quiet strength Allah gives to those who reach this point. It is the strength of not needing to explain yourself to everyone. Before, you may have felt the need to justify every decision, to defend every delay, to prove every choice. But when you begin to trust Allah deeply, you become more comfortable being misunderstood, because you know who you are answering to. You stop needing the world's approval because you are seeking Allah's acceptance. And that changes the way you walk. You walk slower, you speak softer, you react less. Not because you are weak, but because you are anchored. My dear brothers and sisters, reaching the end of your strength is also where compassion is born. When you know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, you become gentler with others. You stop judging so quickly. You stop assuming so easily. You stop speaking so harshly, because you realize that every person you meet is carrying something you cannot see, and that too is part of Allah's design. He softens your heart through your own struggle, so you can become a source of ease for someone else. So if today you feel like you have nothing left, let me tell you something very hopeful. This is often the moment when Allah begins to give you something new. Not always a new situation, but a new heart. A heart that trusts more. A heart that fears less. A heart that leans instead of resists. And my dear brother, my dear sister, a heart like that can walk through storms without losing itself, because it is not walking alone, it is walking with Allah. So do not be ashamed of reaching the end of your strength. Do not see it as a personal failure. See it as a divine invitation. An invitation to stop carrying what was never meant to be carried by you, and to place it in the hands of the one who has been carrying you all along. And when you do, you will begin to feel a different kind of strength. Not the strength that comes from control, but the strength that comes from trust. And that strength, my dear brothers and sisters, can carry you through things you never thought you would survive. Because when your strength ends, Allah's care continues, always. The difference between begging and trusting. There is a quiet line inside the heart that many of us cross without realizing it. On one side of that line is asking. On the other side is trusting. Both turn to Allah. Both raise their hands. Both make dua. But they come from very different places inside the soul. Begging often comes from fear. Trusting comes from peace. Begging says, Ya Allah, I need this to happen, or I don't know how I will survive. Trusting says, Ya Allah, I need you, even if this doesn't happen the way I hoped. And my dear brothers and sisters, that difference changes everything, because one ties your heart to an outcome, the other ties your heart to Allah. Many of us think we are tired because life is hard. But sometimes we are tired because we are holding life too tightly. We are gripping a plan. We are gripping a person. We are gripping a timeline. We are gripping a version of the future we built in our minds. And every day we wake up afraid of losing it. So our du'as become heavy. They sound like, Ya Allah, please don't take this away. I'm selfing. Ya Allah, please make this work. Ya Allah, please change this person. Ya Allah, please fix this now. And there is nothing wrong with asking. Allah loves to be asked. But when the heart begins to believe that peace only exists if Allah answers in a specific way, that is when begging replaces trusting. My dear brother, my dear sister, trusting is when you place your heart in Allah's hands and say, Ya Allah, I don't know what is best for me, but you do. Ya Allah, I don't know what will protect my faith, my future and my soul, but you do. Ya Allah, I don't know what I need as much as I think I do, but you know me better than I know myself. That is a very high level of surrender, and it is not easy because the human heart loves certainty. It loves clarity. It loves knowing how the story will end. But Allah often writes stories that do not reveal their meaning until many chapters later. So you walk for a long time not knowing why something did not work, why someone left, why a door closed, why a dream changed. And this is where the difference between begging and trusting becomes very clear. Begging says, Ya Allah, explain this to me now. Ya Allah, explain this to me now. Trusting says, Ya Allah, I don't understand this yet, but I believe you are still good to me. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how a small child walks with a parent. The child does not know where they are going. The child does not know what the plan is. The child does not know how long the walk will be, but the child keeps walking. Why? Because they trust the hand they are holding. Allah wants your heart to walk like that. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. Some of you are exhausted because you are not just living life. You are constantly trying to manage Allah's role in it. You are trying to decide what He should give you, when He should give it to you, and how He should give it to you. And that is a heavy job for a human heart. Trusting is when you finally say, Ya Allah, I release this from my control. Not because you stop caring, not because you stop trying, but because you stop demanding. You still make dua, you still take steps, you still hope, but you no longer hold the outcome like your life depends on it. You hold Allah like your life depends on Him. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a difference in how the heart feels after the dua. When you beg, you often stand up from prayer still anxious, still scanning for signs, still worried about what will happen. When you trust, you stand up from prayer feeling lighter, not because you know the answer, but because you know who you handed the question to. And that lightness is a gift. It is Allah teaching your heart how to rest. Some of you may say, but I have trusted before and things still went wrong. My dear brother, my dear sister, sometimes what you call wrong is what Allah calls protection. Sometimes what you call loss is what Allah calls removal. Sometimes what you call delay is what Allah calls preparation. Trusting does not mean you will always like the path. It means you believe the one guiding you on it loves you. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a beautiful kind of dignity that comes with trusting. When you beg, your heart often feels desperate. It feels like it is shrinking. It feels like it is chasing. When you trust, your heart feels steady. It feels grounded. It feels held. You stop chasing what is running from you. You stop forcing what is not meant for you. You stop knocking on doors that Allah has gently closed, because you begin to believe that what is written for you does not need to be chased. It will find you at the right time, in the right way, with the right blessing. My dear brother, my dear sister, trusting also changes how you look at people. When you beg, you often lean too heavily on others. You look for them to fill spaces only Allah can fill. You look for them to give you peace, security, and worth. And people cannot carry that weight. So Allah, in His mercy, teaches you to lean on Him first. And when you do, your relationships become healthier. You love without clinging. You care without losing yourself. You give without emptying your soul, because your source is no longer people. Your source is Allah, my dear brothers and sisters. This lesson is not something you master in one day. There will be days when you trust deeply. There will be days when fear comes back. And when it does, do not be harsh with yourself. Fear does not mean your faith is gone. It means your heart is human. So when fear rises, turn it into a conversation with Allah. Say, Ya Allah, my heart is scared again. Hold it for me. Say, Ya Allah, I am struggling to trust. Help me lean on you. Say, Ya Allah, I don't want to fight your plan. I want to walk with it. Those are not weak du'as. Those are honest ones. And Allah loves an honest heart. So my dear brother, my dear sister, let your life be a journey of moving from begging to trusting, from holding tightly to opening your hands. From demanding answers to seeking closeness, from chasing outcomes to walking with Allah. And when you reach that place, you will discover something very beautiful. Your heart will still feel, your eyes will still cry, your life will still have tests. But inside you, there will be a quiet peace that says, whatever happens next, I am not alone in it. And that peace is one of the greatest gifts Tawakkul can ever give a believer. How Allah fights battles you never see. There are wars being fought for you that you will never hear about. There are dangers being turned away from your path that you will never notice. There are doors being quietly closed behind you that you will only understand years later, because you see the moment, but Allah sees the journey. You see what hurts right now. Allah sees what would have hurt you forever. So many times in life we look at what we lost and say, Ya Allah, why did you take this from me? But we do not see what Allah removed from our future. We do not see the harm that never reached us. We do not see the wrong turn we never took. We do not see the version of ourselves that would have been lost if Allah had let certain things stay. My dear brother, my dear sister, protection often feels like pain before it feels like mercy. You cry when a door closes. Allah knows what was waiting behind that door. You feel abandoned when someone walks away. Allah knows what that connection would have done to your heart, your faith, or your path. You feel delayed when things do not move. Allah knows what would have happened if you arrived too early. There are moments when Allah does not give you what you want, because He is protecting you from what you cannot handle. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how limited our vision is. We can only see what is in front of us. We can only feel what is in our hands. We can only understand what has already happened. But Allah sees what is ahead of you 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in the next chapter of your life, and even in the next life. So when Allah changes your path, it is not random, it is precise, it is measured, it is guided by a wisdom that is far greater than your fears. Some of you are still holding on to a version of your life that Allah quietly moved you away from. A place you wanted to stay, a person you wanted to keep, a plan you wanted to complete, and you look back with sadness. But what if Allah looks back at that moment and sees the protection He gave you? What if that loss saved your iman? What if that delay saved your heart? What if that disappointment saved your future? My dear brothers and sisters, there are also battles Allah fights inside you, not just around you. He fights the pride that would have grown if everything went your way. He fights the attachment that would have pulled your heart away from Him. He fights the comfort that would have made you forget your purpose. Sometimes Allah allows hardship not just to change your situation, but to change you. Because a beautiful future needs a strong heart to carry it. And strength is often built in silence. Think about how metal becomes strong. It is not made strong by being left alone. It is made strong by being placed in fire. Your heart is the same. Allah places it in moments of difficulty, not to burn it, but to shape it. My dear brother, my dear sister, look at the story of Yusuf, peace be upon him. A well, a slave market, a prison. Each one looked like a step backward, but each one was actually Allah moving him closer to where he needed to be. If Yusuf had stayed in his father's home, he would not have become a leader in Egypt. If he had not gone to prison, he would not have met the people who would speak about him to the king. What looked like loss was actually placement, and what looked like abandonment was actually guidance. Some of you are in your own well right now. A place of loneliness, a place of confusion, a place of waiting. And you are asking, Ya Allah, where are you in this? My dear brothers and sisters, Allah is not absent in your hardship. He is working through it. There are also battles Allah fights between you and what you cannot see. He fights whispers that try to make you lose hope. He fights thoughts that tell you that you are forgotten. He fights doubts that try to make you question your worth. Every time you still pray, even when you feel tired, that is Allah helping you stand. Every time you choose patience instead of anger, that is Allah strengthening your heart. Every time you choose trust instead of despair, that is Allah guiding you through an unseen battle. My dear brother, my dear sister, you may think you are weak because you still feel pain, but the fact that you are still here, still believing, still turning to Allah, that is proof of a strength you did not create by yourself. That is Allah carrying you. There will come a day when you look back and see how many things had to happen exactly the way they did for you to become the person you are becoming. You will see how certain people had to leave, how certain dreams had to change, how certain paths had to close. And instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You will say, this happened for me. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a mercy in not knowing every battle Allah fights for you. Because if you saw every danger that was turned away, every harm that was blocked, every loss that was prevented, your heart would be overwhelmed. So Allah allows you to live in peace while He works in the unseen. You walk through your day while Allah rearranges your tomorrow. You make your small efforts while Allah moves things in ways you could never plan. And this is part of Tawakkul. Trusting not just what Allah gives you, but what He keeps away from you. Trusting not just the doors He opens, but the ones He locks. My dear brother, my dear sister, when something does not work out, try to pause before asking why. Instead, try saying, Ya Allah, what are you protecting me from? When someone leaves, try to say, Ya Allah, what are you making space for? When a plan fails, try to say, Ya Allah, where are you guiding me instead? These questions do not remove the pain, but they give it meaning. And pain with meaning becomes easier to carry. So remember this when life feels unfair. You are not walking through chaos. You are walking through care. Care from a Lord who sees what you cannot see, who knows what you cannot know, who loves you in ways you have not yet understood. And my dear brothers and sisters, even when you do not feel protected, you are. Even when you do not feel guided, you are. Even when you feel alone in the battle, you are not. Because Allah does not only fight for you in the moments you recognize, He fights for you in the moments you will never remember. And one day, when all the pages of your life are laid out in front of you, you will see that what you thought were wounds were actually shields. What you thought were losses were actually safeguards. What you thought were delays were actually divine timing. And your heart will finally understand something it struggled to believe in the moment. Allah was never against you. He was always protecting you. When your tears become your armor, there comes a quiet point in the believer's life when tears stop feeling like something that weakens you and begin to feel like something that shapes you. At first, you may not notice it. You still cry. You still feel the ache in your chest. You still carry memories that make your eyes heavy. But something inside you is different now. You no longer fall apart the way you used to. Not because the pain disappeared, but because your heart learned where to stand when the pain arrives. This is what it means for tears to become armor. Armor does not mean you become cold. Armor does not mean you stop caring. Armor does not mean you turn hard. It means you stop being destroyed by what once broke you. My dear brother, my dear sister, before, when something went wrong, your heart would collapse inward. Your thoughts would race. Your fears would multiply. Your nights would feel longer than your days. A single disappointment could shake your peace. A single word could stay in your mind for weeks. A single loss could make you question everything. But now, after walking through surrender, after learning to lean on Allah, after watching Him carry you through what you thought you could not survive, you begin to notice a new kind of strength growing quietly inside you. You still feel the storm, but you are no longer swept away by it. This is the difference. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how a tree grows. When it is small, a strong wind can bend it, shake it, or even uproot it. But as time passes, as storms come and go, its roots go deeper into the earth. The storms do not destroy the tree. They teach it where to hold. Your tears do the same for your heart. Every time you cry and still turn to Allah, your roots grow deeper. Every time you feel pain and still choose patience, your heart becomes steadier. Every time you are hurt and still choose trust, your faith becomes stronger. So what once made you fragile begins to make you firm. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is also when you begin to notice that your reactions change. Before, when someone disappointed you, you might have become bitter. You might have carried anger in your chest. You might have replayed the moment again and again in your mind. Now, you still feel the disappointment, but you are quicker to release it. Not because it did not matter, but because you do not want it to live inside your heart. You begin to say, Ya Allah, I place this in your hands. You begin to say, Ya Allah, I don't want this pain to change who I am. And that choice is powerful, because many people allow their pain to become their personality. They allow their wounds to define how they treat others. They allow their disappointments to shape how they see the world. But you, my dear brother, my dear sister, you begin to let your pain shape how deeply you trust Allah instead. And that is a beautiful transformation. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a quiet dignity that comes when your tears become armor. You stop needing to announce your struggles to everyone. You stop seeking sympathy in every place. You stop explaining your wounds to people who cannot heal them. Not because you become closed, but because you become selective. You learn that not every heart is a safe place for your pain, but Allah always is. So you take your heaviest moments to Him first. In the quiet of the night, in the stillness of prayer, in the silence of your own thoughts. And there you find a kind of relief that words cannot give. My dear brother, my dear sister, this armor also changes how you walk through the world. You become less reactive, less easily shaken, less controlled by what people say or do. Not because you stop feeling, but because you stop letting everything reach the center of your heart. You learn to filter life through tawakkul. You begin to ask yourself, is this something I need to carry or something I need to hand to Allah? And slowly you hand more and more over. You hand over your worries. You hand over your fears. You hand over your unanswered questions. And as you do, your heart feels lighter. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a hidden mercy in this armor. It makes you gentler with others, because when you know what it feels like to be broken and still carried, you become softer with the broken hearts around you. You stop judging so quickly. You stop assuming so easily. You stop speaking so harshly. You begin to see people not just for how they act, but for what they might be carrying inside. And this compassion is a sign of strength, not weakness. My dear brother, my dear sister, this armor does not mean life will stop testing you. Storms will still come. Loss will still happen. Disappointments will still find their way to your door. But now, you meet them differently. You meet them with a heart that knows where to go. You meet them with a soul that knows who to call. You meet them with a faith that knows it is not alone. You still cry, but your tears fall into the hands of Allah. And in those hands, they do not remain tears. They become trust. They become closeness. They become a conversation between you and your Lord. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a quiet confidence that begins to grow inside you. Not the loud kind, not the kind that needs to be seen, but the kind that lets you sit with uncertainty without falling apart. You no longer need everything to make sense right away. You no longer need every question answered immediately. You no longer need every door to open on your timeline, because you have learned something deeper. You have learned that even in the waiting, Allah is working. Even in the silence, Allah is present. Even in the delay, Allah is preparing. So you wait, not with frustration, but with faith. My dear brother, my dear sister, This is what it looks like when your tears become your armor. You are not hardened by life. You are anchored by Allah. You do not walk through the world unfeeling. You walk through it protected. Protected from despair. Protected from hopelessness. Protected from losing yourself in the storm. Because now, when the winds rise and the ground shakes, your heart knows where its shelter is. It is not in people. It is not in plans. It is not in outcomes. It is in Allah. And that is the strongest place a heart can ever stand. So if today you feel the weight of another tear forming in your eyes, do not be ashamed of it. Do not rush to hide it. Let it fall in the direction of your Lord. Because every tear you place in His hands adds another layer to the armor He is building around your heart. And with that armor, my dear brothers and sisters, you will not just survive your battles, you will walk through them, carried, guided and protected by the one who never leaves His servant alone. Why Allah loves a heart that leans on Him. There is something very precious to Allah that many people do not realize. It is not your success. It is not your achievements. It is not how strong you appear in front of the world. It is your dependence. Allah loves a heart that knows it cannot stand on its own, because that heart is always facing Him. My dear brother, my dear sister, think about how people often come to Allah. Some come when they want something, some come when they are in trouble, some come when everything else has failed, and Allah welcomes them all. But there is a special closeness for the one who comes not just in need, but in reliance. The one who does not only say, Ya Allah, help me, but also says, Ya Allah, stay with me. There is a big difference. Help can solve a moment, but closeness carries a lifetime. Allah does not want to be a part of your life only in emergencies. He wants to be the center of it. My dear brothers and sisters, when a heart leans on Allah, it stops leaning so heavily on everything else. It stops leaning on people to give it worth. It stops leaning on success to give it identity. It stops leaning on comfort to give it peace, because it has found a deeper source. It has found a Lord who does not leave, a Lord who does not forget, a Lord who does not grow tired of carrying His servant. This is why Allah allows you to feel weak sometimes, not to humiliate you, not to make you feel small, but to remind your heart where its true strength lives. There is a beautiful verse where Allah tells us that He is close to the one who calls on Him. Not the one who speaks perfectly, not the one who has all the answers, but the one who calls. My dear brother, my dear sister, calling means you know you need Him. And Allah loves that place in your heart, because that place is pure. It is humble. It is honest. It is not full of pride. It is not full of self-reliance. It is not full of, I can do this alone. It is full of, Ya Allah, I need you. And that is a powerful thing. My dear brothers and sisters, look at how Allah describes those who trust Him. He calls Himself their protector, their guardian, their caretaker. These are not titles you give to someone who only visits you sometimes. These are titles you give to someone who stays with you always. So when your heart leans on Allah, it enters a different kind of relationship. You stop seeing Him only as the one who answers your prayers. You begin to see Him as the one who walks with you through your days. You begin to talk to Him not only in prayer, but in thought. You begin to remember Him not only in the masjid, but in your car, in your room, in your quiet moments. Your heart starts to check in with Allah before it checks in with the world, and that changes everything. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is also a deep peace that comes with leaning on Allah, because when your heart knows where it belongs, it stops wandering. It stops searching for safety in places that cannot hold it. It stops looking for validation in eyes that cannot truly see it. It stops trying to earn a kind of love that was never meant to be its source. It rests, and a resting heart is a strong heart. My dear brothers and sisters, think about the bird that leaves its nest in the morning. It does not know where its food will come from. It does not have a map. It does not have a plan, but it flies. Why? because it trusts the one who created the sky. Allah loves a heart like that, a heart that moves forward without knowing every detail, but knowing who holds every detail. Some of you are standing at crossroads right now. You do not know which path to take. You do not know how things will turn out. You do not know what tomorrow will bring, and your heart feels heavy because of that. But my dear brother, my dear sister, leaning on Allah does not mean you suddenly know the future. It means you trust the one who is already in it. So you take your step, you make your effort, you say your dua, and then you lean back into Allah's care, not anxiously, not desperately, but calmly. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a beauty in how Allah responds to a heart that leans on Him. He does not always change the situation right away. He often changes the servant first. He gives you patience before He gives you answers. He gives you calm before He gives you solutions. He gives you strength before He gives you ease. Because sometimes the heart needs to grow before the life can. And Allah knows the order better than you do. My dear brother, my dear sister, leaning on Allah also teaches you how to be gentle with yourself. You stop being so harsh about every mistake. You stop punishing yourself for every failure. You stop replaying every regret over and over, because you realize that the one you are leaning on is merciful. So you begin to treat your own heart with mercy too. You repent and you move forward. You fall and you get back up. You try again and you trust again. And this cycle does not make you weak. It makes you close. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a kind of courage that comes from leaning on Allah. Not the loud kind of courage that challenges the world, but the quiet kind that faces life without running away. The courage to wait when you want to rush. The courage to let go when you want to hold. The courage to trust when you want to control. This courage does not come from confidence in yourself. It comes from confidence in your Lord. And that is a deeper kind of strength. So if today you feel small, if today you feel uncertain, if today you feel like you need support, do not be ashamed of that feeling. That feeling is an invitation from Allah to come closer. To lean not on your own understanding, but on His wisdom. To lean not on your own strength, but on His mercy. To lean not on the world, but on the one who created it. And my dear brothers and sisters, a heart that leans on Allah is never truly alone. Even in a crowd, even in silence, even in the dark, it is accompanied, it is watched over, it is cared for. And that is why Allah loves it so deeply, because it chose Him not just as a helper, but as a home. The peace that comes after surrender. There is a kind of peace that does not come from things working out. It does not come from answers. It does not come from finally getting what you were waiting for. It comes from something much deeper. It comes from letting go. Not letting go of effort, not letting go of hope, but letting go of the need to control how Allah writes your story. Because many hearts are not tired from hardship. They are tired from resistance. They are tired from holding tightly to a version of life that Allah is gently trying to change. My dear brother, my dear sister, surrender does not mean giving up. Surrender means giving over. It means you place your plans, your fears, your timeline, your expectations in Allah's hands and say, Ya Allah, I will walk. You decide where this path leads. And something very beautiful happens when you reach that place. Your heart becomes quieter. Not empty, not numb, but quiet. The kind of quiet where thoughts stop racing. The kind of quiet where fear does not shout as loudly. The kind of quiet where your chest feels like it finally has space to breathe. This is the peace that comes after surrender. My dear brothers and sisters, before surrender, the heart often lives in tension. Tension between what is and what should be. Tension between what you have and what you want. Tension between where you are and where you think you should be. And that tension is exhausting. You wake up comparing, you go to sleep overthinking, you walk through your day carrying invisible pressure. Surrender loosens that grip. It allows you to live in the moment Allah has placed you in instead of constantly fighting it. My dear brother, my dear sister, this does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you stop demanding. You still have goals. You still make plans. You still take steps forward. But you no longer treat your plan as more important than Allah's wisdom. You no longer see a closed door as a personal failure. You begin to see it as a redirection. And redirection often leads to places you never would have chosen, but later thank Allah for. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a story in every believer's life where something they desperately wanted did not happen. At the time, it felt like a wound. But years later, they look back and say, if Allah had given me that, my life would have been so different and not in a good way. That realization is the fruit of surrender. It is the moment you understand that Allah was protecting you even when you felt disappointed. My dear brother, my dear sister, the peace after surrender also changes how you see time. Before, waiting feels like punishment. Delay feels like rejection. After surrender, waiting feels like preparation. You begin to say, Ya Allah, if you are not giving this to me yet, you must be building something inside me first. And that thought alone can soften a heavy heart because it turns the waiting room into a workshop. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a calm that enters your relationships when you surrender. You stop trying to control people. You stop trying to make them stay. You stop trying to make them change. You love sincerely. You give honestly. You care deeply, but you leave the outcome to Allah. And this protects your heart because you stop tying your worth to how others treat you. You begin to find your worth in how Allah sees you. My dear brother, my dear sister, this peace also changes how you handle mistakes. Before surrender, a mistake can feel like the end of the road. It can fill you with shame. It can make you feel like you are unworthy of moving forward. After surrender, a mistake becomes a moment to return. You say, Ya Allah, I fell. Help me stand again. And you stand, not because you are strong, but because Allah is merciful. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a quiet courage that grows in this peace. The courage to walk alone if you have to. The courage to say no when you need to. The courage to wait when everyone else is rushing. Because you are no longer being driven by fear of missing out. You are being guided by trust in Allah's timing. My dear brother, my dear sister, this peace does not make you passive. It makes you steady. You still move forward, but you do not move in panic. You still speak, but you do not speak in anger. You still feel, but you do not feel lost. You begin to live with a heart that says, whatever comes next, I am in Allah's care. And that sentence alone can calm a storm inside the soul. My dear brothers and sisters, there will still be days when the old worries return. Days when fear knocks on your heart again. Days when you feel the urge to grab back control. And when that happens, do not be harsh with yourself. Simply return. Return to that quiet place inside you where you once said, Ya Allah, I place this in your hands, and place it there again. Because surrender is not a one-time decision. It is a daily choice. Sometimes a moment-by-moment choice. And each time you choose it, the peace grows a little deeper, a little steadier, a little stronger. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is why Allah tells us that hearts find peace in remembering Him. Not because remembering Allah removes all problems, but because remembering Allah reminds the heart where it belongs. It belongs with the one who sees every tear, who hears every whisper, who knows every fear before it forms. So if today your heart feels restless, if your mind feels crowded, if your soul feels tired, do not search for peace in fixing everything. Search for peace in placing everything back in Allah's hands. And my dear brothers and sisters, when you do that, you will begin to experience a calm that does not depend on circumstances. A peace that stays even when life is uncertain. A quiet strength that says, I may not know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. And for a believing heart, there is no greater peace than that. When you realize you were never alone, there is a moment that often comes quietly, long after the storm has passed. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It simply arrives as a realization. You are sitting somewhere ordinary, maybe in your room, maybe on a bus, maybe walking alone, and suddenly a memory crosses your heart. A night you thought would break you, a season you thought you would not survive, a pain you thought would never leave, and you realize something that makes your chest feel soft instead of heavy. You are still here, breathing, living, standing, and in that moment, the heart whispers, I was not alone in any of that. My dear brother, my dear sister, at the time, it may have felt like silence. You made dua and did not see immediate answers. You cried and did not feel instant relief. You waited and did not see doors opening. So you thought, Ya Allah, where are you? But now, when you look back, you begin to see something different. You begin to see how you were guided away from certain places, how you were protected from certain people, how you were delayed at moments that later made sense. What felt like absence was actually arrangement. What felt like being forgotten was actually being prepared. My dear brothers and sisters, Allah's presence is not always loud. Sometimes it is hidden in small things, in the strength to get out of bed when you did not want to, in the calm that came over you during a moment that should have overwhelmed you, in the person who checked on you at the exact time you needed it, in the thought that stopped you from making a choice that would have harmed you. These are not coincidences. These are signs of companionship. But when you are inside the pain, it is hard to see them. Pain narrows the vision of the heart. It makes you focus only on what is missing, not on what is being held. And Allah is always holding something for you. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is a verse that reminds us that Allah is closer to us than our own breath, closer than our fears, closer than our doubts, closer than the questions we cannot answer. But closeness does not always feel like comfort in the moment. Sometimes it feels like quiet strength instead. The kind that keeps you moving when you do not know where you are going. The kind that keeps you praying when you feel tired of asking. The kind that keeps you believing when everything around you feels uncertain. That strength does not come from you. It comes from Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, think about all the versions of yourself you have already been. The one who did not know how they would survive a certain loss. The one who did not know how they would move on from a certain heartbreak. The one who did not know how they would face a certain change. And yet, here you are, not the same person, but still standing, still believing, still breathing. That journey did not happen by accident. Every step you took when you felt weak, Allah gave you the ability to take. Every moment you endured when you felt empty, Allah gave you the patience to endure. Every prayer you whispered when you felt forgotten, Allah heard, even when the answer did not look like what you expected. My dear brother, my dear sister, there is also a beautiful kind of healing that comes with this realization. You stop being angry at the past. You stop resenting the delays. You stop wishing certain chapters were erased, because you begin to see that those chapters carried you here. They shaped how you trust. They shaped how you care. They shaped how deeply you lean on Allah. And even the painful parts had a purpose. Not because pain is good, but because Allah can bring good out of anything. My dear brothers and sisters, you also begin to see how Allah was with you through people. Through the one who gave you advice when you were lost. Through the one who offered a smile when you were heavy. Through the one who made a dua for you without you even knowing. Allah often answers prayers through human hands. So when you look back, you realize you were surrounded by mercy in ways you did not recognize at the time. My dear brother, my dear sister, this realization also changes how you face the future. Because if Allah carried you through what you thought would destroy you, why would He abandon you in what is coming next? If He stayed with you in your darkest nights, why would He leave you in your uncertain mornings? So you begin to walk forward with a quieter fear and a deeper trust. Not because you know what will happen, but because you know who will be with you when it does. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a beautiful moment in every believer's life when they stop saying, Ya Allah, don't leave me. And they begin to say, Ya Allah, thank you for never leaving me. That is a powerful shift. It is the shift from fear to gratitude, from desperation to recognition, from loneliness to companionship. And that shift changes how the heart lives. You begin to feel accompanied in silence, watched over in crowds, held even when you feel unsure. My dear brother, my dear sister, this does not mean you will never feel lonely again. Loneliness is part of being human. But now, when loneliness comes, it does not feel empty. It feels like a space where Allah can enter. So instead of filling it with noise, you fill it with remembrance. Instead of filling it with distraction, you fill it with dua. And that loneliness becomes closeness. My dear brothers and sisters, one day in the hereafter, all of this will become even clearer. All the moments you thought were random, all the delays you thought were meaningless, all the tears you thought were unnoticed, they will be shown to you as parts of a story written with care. A story where you were never walking alone. A story where every hardship had a reason. Every weight had a purpose. Every loss had a protection hidden inside it. And your heart will finally rest in full understanding. But even now, in this world, you can carry a piece of that peace with you by remembering this simple truth. You were never abandoned. You were never unseen. You were never forgotten. You were guided. You were protected. You were carried. My dear brother, my dear sister, so when you leave this moment, carry this with you. When life feels heavy, remember who held you before. When the road feels uncertain, remember who walked with you before. When the night feels long, remember who watched over you before. Because the one who carried you through your past is the same one walking with you into your future. And with Allah by your side, you are never alone. Not in your tears, not in your waiting, not in your battles. Never. Before you leave this moment, let me leave you with something gentle. You do not have to have everything figured out tonight. You do not have to be strong in every chapter of your life. You do not have to carry tomorrow's worries in today's heart. You were never meant to walk this path alone. If your eyes feel heavy, let them rest in Allah's mercy. If your heart feels tired, let it lean into Allah's care. If your future feels unclear, remember that Allah is already there. Some of you came here feeling like you were fighting battles no one could see. I want you to leave remembering this. Every step you take, Allah is aware of it. Every tear you hide, Allah counts it. Every dua you whisper, Allah hears it. You are not forgotten in the quiet. You are not abandoned in the waiting. You are not unseen in the struggle. You are being guided. You are being protected. You are being carried. So walk forward, my dear brother, my dear sister, not with fear in your heart, but with trust in your Lord. Place what you cannot hold into His hands tonight and let your soul rest in this simple truth. Whatever lies ahead of you, you will not face it alone, because the one who created your heart is the one who is holding it. May Allah fill your nights with peace, your days with guidance, and your life with a closeness to Him that no hardship can ever take away. Ameen.